What's up, fam? It's cousin Jimmy here. So, while I'm trying to put together this YouTube channel, there's a number of obstacles that I'm going to be overcoming. One of which, lighting. I mean, as you can see right now, we got a yellowish hue. I'm basically using the lighting from the garage. Uh, what I can tell is that there's like a lot of dark shadows and not so much of a very clear view. Now, when it comes to me doing other projects at various days and nights, I noticed that I need proper lighting to be able to continue to work through the evening. With that being said, I have a couple of options that were presented to me, and we're going to look over them to see the differences, and I'm going to ultimately decide which one I may or may not go with. So let's take a quick look at the candidates to see what we're going to use for lighting moving forward. Alright, so for the first candidate, we have here the HDX. So I can see it's a 1200 watts halogen work lights with a tripod, portable sled attachments, head tilts, swivels with adjustment knob, 5 feet outdoor rated grounded power cord, tripod base and fixtures extending up to 70 inches, easy grip locks, nuts, quick set tripod legs, 2 600-watt halogen bulbs included. So with this one being halogen base, I don't have too much of a background or familiarity with the differences or the pros and cons that comes with this one. I do have another set of work lights that look similar in design, and I know that these bulbs here, that when they've been used for an extended amount of time, they get warm. Obviously you wouldn't want to touch the bulb itself. That's why it has the wiring protection over the bulbs itself so you don't burn. But beyond that, the ones I had were pretty effective, but I want to upgrade to something newer and something possibly more effective. So this is candidate 1. What we're going to do is set this aside, and we're going to see what the other candidate looks like. Alright, so right here we have another one. This is a HUSKY. Now the details this one displays is that it shows 10,000 milliamp, 10,000 lumen twin head LED work light, cool to the touch, integrated long-lasting LED bulbs, never needs replacing, for use with or without tripod. Tripod telescopes to 76 inches, suitable for wet locations. So besides the fact that this is LED, the basic design and layout looks functionally similar to the other work lights that I may choose to work with. So looking at the two, the halogen doesn't, at least not immediately, express the amount of lumens it can produce. It mostly tells you how many watts the battery is. I know there's an off switch, and that's about it. So what we're gonna do, guys, is that we're gonna open these boxes, take a quick look what's on inside. I noticed that with the HUSKY, it does show that 120 watts performance. But then again, this is LED versus a halogen light. So what we're going to do is go ahead and open them up and take a look at what's inside. We'll start off with this one, the halogen. Looks like we have a base here. Probably the rack that holds it. Here are the actual lights itself, and the wiring that protects your hands from the bulbs. In my personal opinion, I always feel like LED is a safer bet. I mean, I like that it advertised cool to the touch because I have children around. So when I'm doing some of these projects, you'll see that there may be little children in the area, and they run around, they play. However, there's always a scenario of, you know, just like moths, children can get curious about, hey, what's that? Oh, it's a light. Oh, it's pretty. And of course, I'll do everything I can to make sure they don't touch it. But in the event that somebody bumps into it, or that one time you look down at your phone and they're walking over, curious about what that light bulb is looking and feeling like, there's always the risk of it being touched. I mean, for the most part, I will be absolutely vigilant, making sure that doesn't take place. But, you know, whenever there's a possibility, that doesn't leave you with an impossibility. So you want to plan for those things. Now, right away, when I open this box, it seems like there's a lot more material left over here. So I'm going to take a quick sec to clean things up a bit, and then we'll show you what everything over here looks like. Give you a quick glance at what we have here from the first box for the halogen. So we got our base, have the brackets, and we got our two headlights, our two lamps. So I'm gonna set this to the side. We're gonna open the next box, see what that has to show us. All right. So at first glance, things do seem a little bit more packed in an organized fashion. But we're less concerned about how the package looks, and we're concerned about the performance. Okay, so right away, based on the basic design, we're seeing some differences here. Let me clean up a bit. So when it comes to design itself and the weight of it, they're both fairly light. I feel like that's mostly irrelevant. I like the black color and a very sleek, durable looking design. That much is already appealing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take these two out for a test run. It's currently dark outside right now, so we're going to go in the backyard and see how much light we can produce. Alright, you guys, so as you can see that I absolutely do not have adequate lighting in my backyard whatsoever, but we're working to change that. So what we're going to do here, I have this set up where you can clearly see that we have our halogen lights on the left, and then we have our HUSKY light LEDs on the other side. So I have them arranged to where I'm going to project the lights on our backyard, and we're going to take a gander at what the differences look like. So let's see here. First, we're going to start off with the LEDs. Now, right away, I noticed that with the LED light, you get a bright, clear view of the backyard. There we go. You get a bright, clear view of the backyard. Very bright, very white lights. It lights the backyard pretty well. You can see me okay, just fine. And those lights are very bright and effective. So whether at close range or further distance, I feel like that this will be sufficient enough to cover from all the way from the house to the backyard. Let me go ahead and switch them. We'll take a quick look at what the halogen lights look like. So, halogen lights, they appear to be just as effective. I mean, when I take a glance at the lights, they're also very bright as well. And from my personal opinion, the only major difference that I'm noticing is that there's definitely heat being emitted. So let's say if you're just going to use these during the late evening in the summertime or what have you, or if you live in a hot environment, then I feel like using the halogen lights, you would definitely feel that heat beating on you from the lights itself. The lights have a more yellow hue, and it appears to be slightly brighter than the LEDs. However, there's that factor to consider whether you want a warmer, yellower light that actually emits heat versus an LED that has a whiter, brighter look that doesn't emit heat. Um, I actually lit both light bulbs, so the two from each of the packs. So we're going to take a look at what they look like if I just use one, see if that makes a difference. So now I'm turning off one of the halogens. And that's what it looks like when it's just one halogen light. Again, pretty effective at lighting the backyard. And we'll switch it and see what it does with just one LED. Same thing. Well, in my opinion, I feel like the LED is less obtrusive. So it's not as offensive on the eyes. It's not an actual touch hazard on the sight. And not to mention, if you are working during the late summer, which I likely will find myself doing, or any activities in the evening time, there's the um, there's the removal of that heat factor. So that could be a plus if it's during colder seasons, or that could be a disadvantage if it is during the warmer seasons and you're actually trying to cool yourself off. But overall, as far as safety and performance, I feel like they both perform very well. They're both very bright. I've noticed that the LEDs are slightly less offensive on my eyes, as well as when it comes to the halogens, they happen to have that heat hazard because, again, the LEDs, as advertised, were cool to the touch, and when I touch the LEDs, I can barely feel it being warm. And I know that comes from it just being turned on. I just touched it, but when it came to the halogens, when they were on, as soon as I turned those bad boys on, I can already feel the warmth and the heat coming off those things. I can feel it on my hands, my legs, my body, in the general proximity of about roughly 3 square feet. So there's definitely being heat emitted from those, and there's like a little bulb in there. So I think when it comes to the two light bulbs, uh, I'm leaning more towards the LED. Uh, So that's where I stand on the issue. I mean, the halogen. I also noticed that off video, I had to do a little bit more prep work. And let's see if you can get a shot of what I mean. Now, when it came to the LEDs, we'll go ahead and leave that on. The LEDs was pretty straightforward. I took it out the box, plugged it in, boom, it's ready to go. But I don't know if you can see, but right here with the halogens, there was additional screws that need to be installed. So I had to unscrew these, and in this front plate right here, this is actual glass. So if you took a hammer to this will shatter. You need to replace it, otherwise your bulb will be fully exposed, and that's probably not good when it comes to like outdoor weather, like if you're dealing with high fog areas, mist, or rain. But also inside there's a bulb. Now that's another thing I would have to consider: maintenance. So when it comes to the actual bulb itself, if it pops, then now you're going down to Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere, or a hardware store nearby, to replace that bulb. So I feel like that's just more maintenance on my part. So ultimately, I think that it would be a better fit to just go ahead with the LED. Because for me, if I was to use the LED, They claim I don't never have to replace it, so that's a good factor. When putting together the halogens, I already out of the box had to do some minor um, installments. Yeah, I had to take the bulb out of the bulb box, put it in the halogen. But even then, just those key factors that you have to consider when you're making a purchase for your projects. So for myself, I feel like I want to go with LED because safer, no maintenance, and likely to last a lot longer without repair. I don't know in the long term, but moving forward, I'm leaning towards the LED option because it's just as effective and there's not that heat factor. So if I was to do something during the summertime, I already eliminate the addition of an extra heat source causing me to be more fatigued sooner. So we'll do that. If we're looking for something to emit heat, then we'll go buy a product that we're looking to do that with, not our light source. I wouldn't want our light source to do that. Also, when I'm working on different projects, whether they're at nighttime, it's good for me to have a clear white light. So that's one of the other reasons why I will go with the LED. So it sounds like I've made my decision. I'm gonna go ahead and continue to put it together because if you can take a quick look, all I did was I just grabbed the units right out of the box. I didn't even put it on the base or anything. I just wanted to run outside. It's nighttime, shoot the video, and say, hey, which one's better? Which one do I like? And I've made my decision. I'm going to go ahead with the Husky LED lights, and we'll be using that moving forward. So if you like my videos, please leave a comment. Please leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you can be notified of my next video when I drop it. My name is Cousin Jimmy, and thanks for stopping by. I enjoy you next time, fam.